Hey, good morning, guys. So last week I came back online and started I went on Nerd Report and we had a good coverage on UAPs, UFOs. I haven't posted anything on the channel for a little bit, and I say I will keep on posting soon, and I haven't. I'm going to make an effort. I work a full-time job, so I don't have the luxury of trying to post daily or even weekly, but I really am going to try it. But I want to talk a little bit about a topic that's really important to me, and in all reality, important to the world. So, Nerd Report, about a month ago, we went live in regards, and we covered the whole whistleblower testimony that was happening in Washington, D.C. And a lot of stuff has happened since then. We've had people attacking the credibility of David Grush, which was total horseshit. And then there's been some crazy stuff that's been happening in Peru. And a few days ago when I was on with Louis from Nerd Report, I was like, I'm agnostic. And maybe some people don't understand what the term agnostic means. It doesn't mean I don't believe. I just mean that I need proof, right? And I can't just take it based on faith or some grainy, footage. Should be responsible for myself. I totally do believe that that there is something going on in the world that has to do with UAPs, UFOs, extraterrestrials, non-human intelligences, and stuff like that. So with that said, I just wanted to kind of expand a little bit on what we were kind of hinting on with Louis. So myself, Louis, and a couple other guys, Cameron and Skylar, we're going to be putting a documentary together. And my intentions are to make sure that this documentary is respectful of the subject. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I enjoy watching, stuff like Ghost Adventures and stuff, I'm not a fan of how, Zach and those guys try to, make a mountain out of a molehill type situation. I don't want to exaggerate a topic or something just for views, and that's just me for my own credibility. Okay, I'm not saying that Zach is not successful; he totally is, and maybe we go down the road and do something like this. But my intentions are that this documentary should be taken with respect, taken with give some credibility to the people that for years have been carrying this burden of watching, seeing something or knowing something. And this goes back all the way back from, 47 forward, right? Obviously, I think the big turning point of the UAP world is 1947, is the Roswell incident. Even though there is lots of information or lots of, proof, quote unquote, that other things have been happening in the past, whether it's, religious texts, the Bible or the Hindu text or old paintings, even old testimonies. There was even testimonies of people seeing, quote unquote, airships in the 1800s when there was no airships, right? So, but 47 was definitely the time that everything kind of turned around. To the term, flying saucer was coined, and so on. So, again, my vision of what this documentary should be is to, give a voice, and it's been told before, right? But I don't think we've threaded all the different things that have happened since 47. And I think that's what my intention for this documentary should be, is threading everything that's happened from 47 on, right? Because I do believe things are tied in. Now, some stuff have been hoaxes. There's no doubt. There's been hoaxers all along, and there's people who have been trying to debunk them. And there's people who are believers, and I think we should show all of this, like what are some of the hoaxes? Well, if we remember a few years ago, the UFO autopsy, video that Fox put out, and I think it was Jonathan Frakes, Jonathan Frakes, the guy who plays Riker on the Star Trek shows. He was the one that was hosting it. And obviously that was a hoax, and I think that was very disrespectful to the topic, and disrespectful for the people who have truly have been having issues, or like I said, carrying the burden of seeing something that was otherworldly. I'm not saying that autopsies haven't happened, but an example, that one specific video or that one specific TV show that was put out was disrespectful. I don't want to do anything like that. If we're to believe some of the comments that the whistleblower David Grush has said, people have died, people have been killed due to this topic, right? Because people have been trying to cover it up, and why? Why has it been covered up? Well, if same thing, if you go down the UFO rabbit hole, you end up finding out that some people believe that this is tied in to what in the past we thought was, supernatural, angels and demons. There's people out there who have a reason to believe that the UFOs or the aliens are tied in, to quote unquote demons and angels. Could it all be tied in together? And these are things that I think we as a society need to explore, whether it's true or not. Exploring and investigating and doing a little bit of research of what people believe, I think, is a very interesting topic, right? I prefer to talk about this over, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, as fun as that was to do, or even necessarily as much as I love movies. Listen, talking about movies is great, and I'll do it. But if there's any truth to the possibility that we are not alone, which, by the way, I believe that we are not alone. And if this has to do with, gods and angels of from the Bible, if this is all tied in somehow, it's pretty intriguing. Now, there's a big population of the world that does believe in a God. We're not saying that God doesn't exist, but what if just God takes a different form of what we've imagined him to be, right? What if, what we thought was Satan and the devil are just, aliens? What if, non-human intelligences, which, again, think about it, aliens that, or let me rephrase this, angels and demons were non-human, right? So, and they were intelligent according to people who believe in gods and stuff like that. So that term does apply to what a potential angel and demon could be, a non-human intelligence. And again, when you go down that rabbit hole, when you start hearing stories of the past, and that saying, when there's smoke, there's fire. Well, there's a lot of smoke on some of the stories that have been out there. Everything from, someone that worked with Reagan, that when they were informed what these aliens were, right? That this person cried himself to sleep. You have other, stories of even Tom DeLonge has been constantly saying that these beings are, intradimensional, right? And yeah, we could kind of like laugh at Tom DeLonge and say, oh, well, he's just, the lead singer of Blink-182. I'll tell you, Tom DeLonge did a lot for the UFO disclosure movement with when he started To the Stars Academy with Chris Mellon and Lou Elizondo, and he has been pushing for disclosure. And now some people are like, well, he was just, he's just part of the establishment and he's just basically working. I think the fact that he had access to them doesn't mean that he was part of the establishment. I guarantee you he ruffled a lot of feathers. And the same thing with Lou Elizondo, and the same thing with David Grush. And I don't care where who reveals the truth. I think as a society, we should all be trying to, whether you're the lead singer of Blink 182 or whether, you're someone who is more of a citizen journalist out there who's trying to get to the bottom of the story. And listen, I want people to share stories, and I want people to share, what they've experienced in their lives. And I'm not making fun, quote unquote, of the stuff that's happening in Peru, but I don't want a chupacabra situation. And for those who are like, well, what's chupacabra? Uh, you know, um, there's just a lot of similarities to what I see with the the um, the mass mania that's happening with this whole Peru situation. Again, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying I need proof, and not necessarily grainy videos, you know. And on the video that's been shared around there of something crawling up what appears to be stairs, to me looks like an old man or someone trying to crawl up the stairs. Why would an alien, if why would an extraterrestrial person be stuck in water that way? It just, again, just a little. It's okay to question. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But as of right now, again, I need to see, uh, real evidence besides, jerky movements and fake video of guys in jetpacks, right? And that's what I mean. These are the things that hurt the credibility of this topic when, automatically we're like, oh, look at the guys with the jetpacks, or look at this, or look at that. And that's exactly what happened with Chupacabra, right? Something was happening in Puerto Rico, and it was most likely, this is what's crazy. So the whole Puerto Rico thing, people believed that there was this alien that was sucking goats and animals and killing chickens and stuff, right? So even when you had independent people doing autopsies on the bodies of these animals, right? They even did DNA tests. They did, and it came back that there was just like a pack of wild dogs that were killing, goats and chickens all over Puerto Rico. But yet somehow, some people still believed it when there was hard evidence. And that's all I'm saying. We need to have hard evidence. We can't be just automatically believing something because we want something. You can. Listen, you could do whatever you want nowadays, right? You want to call yourself a lamp, you call yourself a lamp, if that's what you identify as, or if you want to believe whatever the hell you want to believe, that's your prerogative. All I'm saying is, for me, I'm more of a meats and potatoes type of guy. I need evidence, okay? And with that, I'm hoping that this Monday, what's today, Sunday, Monday, as long as the hurricane that's barreling down, Baja, coming up from Baja California, coming from Mexico towards Southern California, as long as we have power and internet, my intentions are to go live tomorrow with Nerd Report to talk about some of the more documented stuff that's been researched and has been ignored lately by this new wave of believers, right? Everything from the school in Africa that kids saw a bunch of stuff, and there's a lot more testimony towards that. Everything from the Rendlesham Forest incident that happened in the UK at that U.S. Air Force base. Everything obviously to the big one, which is whether it's Roswell, whether it's the Travis Walton experience that happened up in Arizona. Again, there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk and explore and make sure that, this new wave of UFO believers, right? Or this new wave of UFO people that are, jumping on, some of the stuff in Peru. That's great. Keep on believing that. But let's talk about some of the other stuff that's a bit more documented, the stuff that's been talked about by people who are, well, hell, go down the rabbit hole and do a little bit of research on astronaut Gordon Cooper. This is a guy that went to the moon. This is a guy that, the government put a lot of faith and money for training and given access to very expensive equipment, went to the moon and comes back and, ends up putting out some pretty incredible stories, right? Whether it's the story of when Eisenhower was taken to Edwards Air Force Base, and the story of how Gordon Cooper literally was the one in charge of the camera recording a meeting that took place, a UFO, a UAP that landed at Edwards Air Force Base to meet with the president of the free world, with President Eisenhower. They've spoken about this, whether it's the story of Jackie Gleason being taken by President Nixon to Homestead Air Force Base and shown bodies, and Jackie Gleason never being the same afterwards. Whether it's Buzz Aldrin talking about bases on the other side of the moon. These are people who we trusted as a society, as a country, to go to the moon, for God's sakes, right? And all I'm saying is there's some really interesting stories about the stuff that they've seen, and those are the things that interest me more, right? I'm not saying that other people that are not as famous are not credible. All I'm saying, these are things that we could explore because there's a lot more information out there about. Okay, so that's my goal that I'm going to be doing on Atomic Wire. We're going to be talking a bit more about those situations, and hopefully culminate with a good documentary that's based on facts, whichever way the facts may take us. Whether we debunk certain stories, whether we prove certain stories, or if we stay in the same situation. But searching for the answers is what is important, right? And I think that if you take this journey with myself and Louie and Cameron and Skylar, who are going to be putting this documentary, and everything's going to be building up towards it, I think it's going to be a fun journey. A lot of stuff going on, guys. A lot of stuff going on in the UFO world, and I think it's an exciting time of history, right? If this turns out to be, well, that we are not alone, right? And there's I forgot who said this. I'm sure someone in the comments will mention this. Is that there's two possibilities, right? Either we are alone, and that's totally frightening to think that in the infinite universe that we'd be alone, or is it that we're not alone? And it's both frightening, right? If we just think of how human beings have been in the past when human beings explore, whether it was when the Europeans came to America and they dominated the native species or the natives of this continent, and even the natives when they would go explore over the mountain, and what they did to other people, right? The big question is, if it's true, do they come in peace, right? And here's a big question is, or have they been here all along, right? Who knows? So again, come, join us on this journey. Join me on this journey. I will, once a week, I will be highlighting a UFO story that you may or may not know about. And we're going to go down this rabbit hole. All right, guys? Well, listen, stay safe for all you Californians. All righty? Be good. Take care.